Hey, welcome everybody to the Encounter Church podcast, where Sunday's message meets Monday's life. We're trying something new here and just kind of pulling back the curtain a little bit with what goes into the message, but also trying to answer some of those questions that got brought up over the weekend. And this week, there was a lot of them.
Yeah.
I think it was one of the more heavily fed back messages that we've had in a while, which is honestly awesome.
I love that.
We thrive on that.
Yeah.
Because it lets us know kind of where people are. Sometimes it's a, hey, this is how God spoke to me in the message.
Yep.
Other times it's,
hey, why didn't you talk about this?
Right?
Yep.
Did you go in this direction?
Yep.
I was kind of confused on this. I could use some clarity.
Yeah.
But every time there's an invitation there for further conversation. And I just feel like Jesus is glorified anytime, whether it's positive, critical, corrective. It's just good. So again, thank you for everybody who wrote in, who found us afterwards. It's just a great place to be. But you heard the message.
I did. First thing that I want to say, so I was at Fulton Heights on Sunday, and I didn't get to hear the message live because my 1-year-old was just wandering the stairs in the building. There's a lot of stairs at Fulton Heights, and so I got to listen to it this morning, and the first thing I want to say is, Dirk, nice haircut. The second thing I want to say, Kristen, if you're watching, you're never cutting my hair, okay?
I did have somebody say, like, are you sure that she didn't do such a bad job intentionally, so I would never ask her to do it again. Weaponized incompetence.
Oh,
I'm
man.
told that's called.
We're playing checkers.
Our wives are playing chess.
I think that's
so much
what it is.
There.
But it was a good message, and it's a really good conversation because, man, faith is so important to life.
Yes.
And sometimes it's a tricky thing to navigate. That Christian cliche, you just need more faith. So I love the big idea, if you will. You said it's not the size of our faith, it's the object of our faith. So again, good stuff.
Yeah.
I know as someone who preaches, I know that when you're writing a message, man, you've got to cut some stuff. Yeah, you preach 35, I preach 30 minutes, and you really could, you could go on for a while. Okay, here's the question. What did you have to cut for time's sake, or maybe just because it didn't fit in with the lane of the message, but you're like, oh, that's really good content, I might save it for later. What did you feel like you had to cut?
Yeah, well, some of that is doing this
for sure.
show, right? Because it's like, hey, listen, let's get brought in. If you're hungry for like more content, like every weekend we have it. It's just like respecting people's time and our kids, volunteers serving in that ministry.
That's true.
So like one of the big things, the big questions coming into this was like the angle of the message, right? Like I think early on we were talking about how, hey, is this going to be like this challenge type message, or is this going to be maybe one more of comfort? And we talked about some of those, like you just need more faith. And the question was like, what does faith even mean? You know, like what is faith actually? Like we all have this idea that, well, you know, faith is like believing Jesus died for my sins and rose again from the dead. And it's like, yes, that's faith, but we have to believe that there's something else to it, right? Because James tells us, Jesus cites, even the demons believe that. Like there has to be we know so many people that would say those things, and I think like on a cognitive level, they believe them, but there's no fruit from that. There's no change as a result of that. And it just kind of gets me wondering, you know, is there has to be something more? And I think you had some content on that.
So I did a little bit of research, and historians have taught this, theologians, and even I've seen some preachers within the last couple of weeks who have taught this. So this is not new content, but I thought this was a
This goes back to Augustine of Hippo, Northern Africa in 300 AD, I believe.
Wow, you're a historian. I love it.
This is
way to go.
As long as nobody fact checks me. What do you got, dude?
So the three categories. The first one is knowledge. So three categories of faith, maybe. The first one is knowledge. You know the facts. You could tell the story of Jesus, Son of God. He died on a cross for our sins. Like, you know the basics. You have the knowledge. So that's the first category. The second category is assent. So you know the facts and you agree with the facts,
got you.
Right? So that's number two. But here's the third category, and this is where we want to move people. This is where I want to be. It's trust. It's personally relying on Jesus. I think it was Louis Giglio who said it this way. He said, putting the weight of your trust in Jesus. So going back to that James text, it said, James, he says this, in the same way, faith by itself, if it's not accompanied by action, is dead. But someone will say, you have faith, I have deeds. Show me your faith without deeds, and I'll show you my faith with deeds. Now, verse 19, this is where it gets really good. He says, you believe that there is one God. Good. Even the demons believe that.
And shudder.
Yeah. So what does that tell us? We can't just have facts about God. We can't just have facts about God and believe them. No, we are called, the invitation is always on the table to put the weight of our trust in Jesus. And I think this, if we could make it just as simple as we can, it's like, how do I know if I have faith? I would ask this, when you look into the future, who do you see who has control?
Who is in charge at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So going back to those three categories, I have knowledge.
So knowledge, assent, I agree with them. I know the story, I believe the story, and I'm trusting my future to the story and the one who is ultimately telling it.
Yeah.
Super good. One of the things that we talked about is the most difficult one of those, I think, the one where maybe we lose people, isn't necessarily in knowing some of those light facts, or even agreeing with them, but it's that last one, the weight piece.
Yeah.
Right. One of the ways that we're talking about, one of the things that I wanted to do, maybe as a possibility with the message, was inviting everybody to consider a time in your life, in my life, when we trusted. God, I can't do this on my own. Yeah. I need you to show up. Right? And there's like a caution, because I think about that for me and I'm like, well, when were some of those times? And sometimes I can't immediately think of them. And then I'm like, am I demonstrating faith? I'm a pastor, for crying out loud, right? And then I can think of some times for me. I go back to the classic ones for me, and it's like, career paths, starting a church when there was other opportunities on the table, right? But it's it's difficult.
Yeah,
it's difficult. Do you want to jump in on that? Do you want to share? You gotta.
Yeah,
you gotta call the ministry. But I'm trying to think about you're listening into this. Like, what's yours?
Here's one of the things that's a challenge, I think, is that when we have faith and we ask God for things, sometimes He says yes.
Yep.
And He's generous and He's merciful. And sometimes, man, if you've lived being a Christian for a couple days, you experience that God says no. Yeah. And that's really, really hard.
Yeah.
And sometimes
hard to say He's generous and He's merciful in the no.
Yeah. In the no. So I remember
to hold on to that, right? In the no, and to hold on to generous and merciful when the no comes.
Yeah.
Faith.
Yeah.
Right? That takes extraordinary faith to hold on.
Yeah.
Even in the no. What were you saying?
I was just going to say, I remember just a moment in my life when I prayed for something, believed for something, and God said no. So just a quick story. I remember it was, a couple years ago, I got done preaching on a Sunday, and my cousin, earlier in the week, he had a heart attack.
Oh, man, yeah.
Yeah, so you remember.
I remember this.
So he had a heart attack, and he was in a medically induced coma because they were trying to allow for his body to heal. And I remember it was going to be the Sunday evening that they were going to try and wake him up from his coma. And so I was preaching that Sunday. After I got done preaching, I got in my car. I drove 2.5 hours to the east side of the state where I'm from. And as I'm driving, that's when they're trying to wake him up. Yeah. And so I'm driving and I'm praying, I'm believing, I'm asking, God, would you please wake him up? Would you please? And the hope was when he wakes up, we're hoping that he's not brain dead. Honestly, that was the hope, that was the prayer. And we did what the Bible told us to do. Yeah. We prayed, I went there, I anointed him with oil, and we just did all the things. Yeah. And God said no. Yeah. He didn't wake up. Yeah. He was brain dead. It's yeah. What do you do with that?
Right.
That's really hard. So sometimes God says yes, and he provides the miracle. Praise be to God. Sometimes he says no to the prayers that we pray.
And faith is still saying, praise be to God.
Faith is saying, whether you say yes or whether you say no, faith is saying, God, help me to trust you.
Yeah. And I like how you said, believing at the end, who is in charge.
Yeah.
That he is still in control.
Yeah.
I want to dig into that one a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because honestly, that's probably where I received most of the feedback. And like I said, it was quite a bit more than a typical Sunday, and we're grateful for that.
Yeah.
But I shared those 2 stories of true stories, children in a bad place in the hospital, one of whom received the miracle and the other one did not. I think that there was this, there's this hunger maybe within the community to drill down deeper into those stories and to try to answer that same question with your cousin of saying like, okay, but why?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's something like human about wanting to be able to connect those dots and being deeply unsettled when we can't. I'm not saying they don't connect, that's God's business, but you're not connecting those. I'm sitting with you in this grieving process. I can't connect those, right? And that's where the faith comes in, is allowing belief in a God who can, even though we don't see it. But I didn't answer that question of why. Why? Help me connect those things. And some of that largely is driven by, I didn't want that to be the point of the message.
Yeah. You know what I love what happens is when you get done preaching and someone comes up to you and they're like, oh, you should have talked about this.
Yeah.
You're like, absolutely.
So
that was actually in the first draft, but I had to cut it because of time. I absolutely, we should have talked about that.
But that's such an important question.
Yeah.
And worth the time to coming back around to.
Yeah.
All right. So I share those stories, and you shared your story with a cousin, to highlight the truth that like sometimes we think that there's like a secret to faith to like unlock, some kind of combination. If I prayed fervently enough, hard enough, the right words enough.
You talked about the idea of faith as a currency.
Yeah.
So similar to what you're saying now.
Right. A currency to spend in order to get.
Yeah.
And I think more seasoned Christians, people who've walked with Jesus maybe for longer, would understandably like, no, I know that it's not.
Yeah.
I know that that's just another kind of works righteousness that Jesus has saved us from.
Yeah.
But then it comes up in secret, more insidious ways.
Yeah.
Because it comes up in ways like, well, am I really believing? Am I really demonstrating true faith?
Yeah.
Do I have all 3 types? And when those voices come up, and I want to say, listen, the outcome that you received is in no way tied to the technique that you used before God.
Yeah.
It's not about the technique, it's about trust.
Yeah.
And but man, just unsettling.
Yeah. If we were to sit down and with our church and someone was walking through a really hard time, and often we go to someone who is sick because, man, that just happens so often. Pastorally, here's how I would encourage them to pray.
Yeah.
I would encourage them to pray like this. It's a 3-part statement, and I'll kind of walk through one at a time if that's cool. Yeah. So the first part is, pray this: God, I know you can.
I know you can.
Yeah. Because sometimes we just need to be reminded that God actually can do it.
And say the quiet part out loud.
Yes, right? We looked in the text on Sunday. Jesus rebuked the demon, and it came out of the boy, and he was healed at that moment, right? Here's what we need to understand. When the kingdom of light is at war or in a battle with the kingdom of darkness, it's not a fair fight.
It's not a fair fight.
It's not a fair fight at all.
There's
if
not
the
gonna be
tomb is
11
empty,
seasons of
anything
Star
is
Wars.
possible.
Yes.
So God, I know you can. We just need to be reminded that God is a miracle working God.
Yes.
He can, he totally can. And then, so that's the first part of the statement. God, I know you can. And number 2, God, I'm asking that you will.
Yep.
I'm asking that you would heal my cousin. I'm asking that you would heal my mother. I'm asking for whatever it is, provision, whatever it is.
And do the ask.
Yeah,
Right?
so ask. James 4:2, he says, you do not have what you want because you do not ask God for it. So like, you
make the big
say
ask.
it out loud. Ask God for whatever it is that you want. And this is a little bit of a longer text. Maybe I can summarize it. But I teach our students, like, how do I pray?
Yeah.
How do I pray? Jesus gives a story in Luke chapter 11, starting in verse 5. I'm not going to read it, because it's kind of long, but go read it. Luke chapter 11, verse 5. Jesus basically says, hey, be annoyingly consistent on how often, like just nag, like just keep praying. I think sometimes we throw up a prayer once and then we're done.
Yeah.
Keep praying. So ask that God would heal. Ask that God would provide. But the third part of the statement, and I think this is where, I think this is good, and this is where I want people to land. This is where I want to land. Help me to trust you either way.
Yes.
God, I know you can. You're a miracle working God.
Yep.
I'm asking that you would. Whether it's a yes, whether it's a no, help me to trust you either way.
So the second part of that one,
Yeah.
right, about Luke 11,
Yeah.
it's the persistent widow before the judge.
That's actually a different one, but it's the same idea.
It's good.
It's the same
good.
idea.
This is, I don't know everything.
It was one of the.
Appreciate you calling me out on that. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, but sometimes, right? It's I don't want to fall into mistake, and this is really like what Sunday's message actually was about. I don't know. I can't connect the dots.
Yeah.
But the message is about just simply highlighting, like it's not the technique that you use. It's trust in the one who ultimately will act.
Yeah.
And yes, no, those are both answers that God is acting on. Sometimes we hear that persistent widow story. I know that wasn't linked. But and it's like, well, if only I was annoying enough before God.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, that's still coming back to works righteousness. That's still coming back to the levers.
Two sides to that
right?
coin.
It's just a little deep. It's just a little more insidious. And it's just like separating those voices of saying, listen, if you have a voice in your head that is telling you, maybe you didn't pray hard enough, or maybe you actually don't believe.
Yeah.
Right? You know whose voice that is.
That's from the father of all lies.
Right? The accuser, Jesus calls him.
Yeah.
And also, he's holding on to you. And I think that needs to shine through. And that's why I wanted to end the message with one of hope, of like just imagining, falling asleep, and like tossing with your thoughts, and having that trust that even though I'm not strong enough, I know that He is.
Yeah. Man, I think so often we live in a me-centered culture. And I think sometimes, and we talked about this last week, we read the Bible and we think that we're the main character.
Right, yeah.
We think that we're the center of the story.
Yeah.
I mean, perfect example, David and Goliath. How many times have you heard it? Like when David kills Goliath, you are David, you can overcome, you can slay your giants. Like,
you're not
bro,
David.
Just hold on. You're not, this is such good news. Someone needs to tell you this. You are not David. Who are you? You are the scared Israelite on the sideline that's too scared to go out and fight. Jesus is our David. He's the one who fights. He's the one who overcomes. And the victory that He has achieved gets credited to our account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got this comment, and I wanted to get your take on it.
Yeah.
And I didn't share this with you ahead of time. So
I love this.
We're just going to go for it.
It's a bonus, Pierce.
It's a bonus. So I share the story of like there was a Don Carson quote, right, the commentator, and he comes us back to Exodus, and he says, the blood on the lamppost, and you got one guy, both guys put blood on the doorpost.
Yeah.
One guy
has confidence.
The
other one has
cool,
anxiety.
calm, collected. The other guy is white knuckling it, scared to death.
Yeah.
And I said, whose child died?
Neither.
And of course, it's neither, right? Because the outcome isn't based on them. It's based on whether or not the blood is on the doorpost.
The object of their faith.
Right? Yeah. And so that spoke to me, which is why I wanted to share it. But I got the comment of like, okay, so the blood on the doorpost, got it. It's on Him, and our faith demonstrates that. What about today? Two people believing. I shared those two stories.
Yeah.
Right? And you shared your story.
Yeah.
Still, how would you answer that why did one have to die? What if one of the kids died? Because it seems today that tragedy does happen.
Yeah.
You know, your cousin doesn't wake up.
Yeah.
What do we do? How does that story, the biblical story of the angel of death, the Passover, how does that connect, or doesn't it?
It's a good question. One of the things that's rolling around in my head right now, again, sometimes we've said it a few times. Sometimes God says yes. Sometimes God says no.
Yeah.
And when God says no, I don't know why. Yeah. But what I come back to is that when God says no to my specific prayer for whatever it is, I'm encouraged by the text. I think it's 2 Corinthians, when Paul, I think quoting Jesus, he says, "My grace is sufficient for you." That's good. And sometimes, man, isn't that where you really get to know the character of God?
Yeah.
When he doesn't do what I wanted him to do, but I'm bathing in this reality that his grace is sufficient for me.
Yeah.
And I think it gives me a better perspective too. Yep. Like this life that we're living right now, gosh, it's like this long.
Right, I know.
And eternity is like you can't even measure it.
Yeah.
And so I certainly pastorally want to acknowledge all of the heartache that goes into some of that stuff. And I don't have the answers.
I think we come back to the promises of God in those moments and holding tightly onto them.
Yeah. Because where else are you going to go?
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
The promise of God in that Exodus story is that if you put in that instance, if you put the lamb's blood on the doorpost, death will pass by, unharmed. Like I want to be sensitive to it, right? But also draw this line to say, like, we don't have a belief that if we put blood on the doorpost, or if we believe that the lamb is sacrificed, that death will pass us by. Mm-hmm. Like that was a then and there an Exodus application one time.
Yeah.
Today, the fulfillment of that looks different. Right? The fulfillment of that looks like, well, it's not literal blood on a literal doorpost and a literal firstborn son who might live or die. Today, it's faith in the Lamb that was once and for all sacrificed.
Yeah.
And death passing us by is the hope of the resurrection.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? It's the gospel hope.
Yeah.
So that you can look into your eyes of your cousin and of anybody else at the church here who's experienced deep loss and deep grief, and to have the hope of the gospel. And says, in Jesus, we know this to be true.
Yeah.
Death is not the last word.
Yeah. And man, isn't that such an encouragement?
I think that's the encouragement that we want to end on today.
Yeah.
That's good. If you're listening to this, thanks for hanging out. Don't forget to subscribe. We're going to be launching these regularly after the message on Sunday. Again, it's where Sunday's message meets Monday life. We'll see you next time.
See you.